Hello, everyone, and welcome back to ChaiNet, where we learn from builders before the machines take over. I'm your host, Rachit Magan, and today we're diving headfirst into a very uncomfortable conversation in tech, but one that's happening, in all boardrooms, in all Slack channels, across all media networks. But today we're not talking to some AI researcher or a VC who's making predictions of the future from the sideline. We're actually talking to someone who's lived through this transformation from the inside. Meet Jemin Patel, a senior software engineer who's been in the trenches for nearly a decade. He started as an intern at Amazon back in 2016 when AI coding assistants were more like science fiction. And since then, he's worked at Sprinkler, Rail State, Spatial Labs, and now Deel, watching the engineering profession evolve right in front of his eyes. But what's interesting about today's conversation is because Jamin has actually experienced the before and the after. He remembers when deploying a microservice required extensive manual configuration, and now he watches things scale faster than ever through AI. He's witnessed the job market shift from, we need more engineers to deploy more code and to be more successful, to we need fewer engineers but better models. And but the conversation today is not about fear mongering or even techno optimism. It's mostly about understanding what is the transformation which is there underway. Because whether you're a CS student wondering whether you should actually change your majors, whether you're a junior engineer worried about your job security, a senior engineer trying to stay relevant, a startup founder who's trying to understand whether he should hire more or not, or an indie hacker who's even wondering that does it make sense to build my next indie project. The next few years are going to determine whether you're part of the solution or whether you're part of the displacement. And that's what we're here to talk about. So let's buckle up and let's get going. So, Jemin, welcome to ChaiNet.
Thank
You've
you.
worked at Amazon, you've worked at Amazon, Sprinkler, Deal,
Yeah.
and please give us a small introduction.
Yeah. So I started my journey as a software engineer at Amazon. And throughout this decade of experience, I have learned a lot. So like initial, first two companies like Amazon and Sprinkler, that gives me a lot in terms of holistic experience. I learned how to write a better code, how to scale the product. I have learned a lot of different technologies at these two companies. And then my journey started towards the startups. In those initial two companies, I was like a backend engineer, handling like backend code and dealing with few of the DevOps tasks. But then I shifted towards the full stack journey, mostly in the startups. I worked with multiple startups. I learned there a lot because those two companies experience helped me a lot during the startups, because at startups you have to wear multiple hats, like front end, back end, DevOps. The major thing which I have learned is like how we can handle the infra at the startups, because I already have a knowledge about back end code. I learned front end at startups, but at the same times the major experience which I learned a lot from startups is the DevOps task, because I converted the monolithic code into the microservice based architecture. I learned a lot on the GCP as well as on the AWS, how to create Kubernetes clusters and everything. So during startups I learned a lot regarding the DevOps. So now after the startup experience, like you can just throw me an idea and I have experience that I can build entire startups or product from scratch, from end to end. So that
Right.
kind of experience I have after the startups. So that's a huge and but nowadays the things are different. Now you don't need army of people, you need army of agents that can build a product for you, and there can be a solo founder, a unicorn founder, just one developer. So that could be a thing in the future. But yeah, really excited for upcoming days in this AI wave.
Right, right. That's very interesting that you don't need an army of people. You need an army of agents, right? That's very true. And it's
Yeah,
interesting that that you say that you're excited for the coming days,
yeah.
which which might be a bit contrary, because what we see is that uh, actually computer science employment has dropped, right, by almost 30%. I think 26.5% to be exact, which is
Hmm.
actually the lowest drop if we consider the percentage,
Hmm.
the lowest drop since the 1980s, which is actually practically before the internet. At least in India it's before the internet. And Google's chief scientist actually admitted that AI already writes 25% of your code, right?
Yeah.
So are we in denial of how fast AI is moving and displacing all of us?
No, I am with that statement. Basically, it is moving fast. Even in my coming like current days, I'm like 30 plus percentage of code is written by AI. That's my journey. I like most of the like 30%, I would say, code is written by AI. But it's not just like I'm blindly following their code. Nowadays, like I need to spend more time on reviewing the code because there are a lot of AI codes. You need to be very careful. It's not just like that. It is going to work all the time, so you have to be extra careful while reviewing the code. So like my time is increased little bit more on the reviewing the code and having discussion with the people. But yeah, I mean the code is written by ais, that percentage is increased day by day. And even I can say that 30% code is written by ai in my day-to-day life currently.
Right, right. So
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting that not just companies like Google, but even startups and even smaller companies have heavily adopted AI already. And if
yeah.
it's 30%, if we say that 30% of code is written by AI, does that also mean that you need 30% less developers now from
Hmm.
what you needed earlier?
Yeah, so even like like you can say like 6 months or a year back, we were having a projection like we need this many people in our team to scale or to deliver that many feature within this time bound. But now figures are getting changed. Even you have less developers, you can deliver the same amount of output within given time range. So that's there. So I would say the early so we do not hire fresh people, we just hire experienced people because that's what they bring, the experience, and they bring the quality code. So that's our strategy nowadays. But yeah, I would say that the head count is getting decreased day by day as the models are getting evolved, and that count is going to increase. But at the same time, I would say people have to focus on little bit more on the how you can develop your own model, on top of it how you can tune it based on your requirements. So that kind of capabilities people should know about it in the future to save yourself basically.
Right, right. So apart from using AI to write code,
Yeah,
another important aspect is to understand how to deploy your model and maybe train your model, or maybe build a rag around model so that
yeah,
you can use that to deploy. But I want to catch on something which you said, right? That you don't hire junior people now; you hire experienced people, right?
yeah. Mhm.
This is exactly why I'm having these conversations, right? But now tell me something. That's what we also feel, but I want to understand your perspective. That
Hmm.
how much of a junior developer's daily work can actually something like a copilot or a cursor
Mhm.
handle today? Like, uh, if we don't need junior engineers, then how does that like how do they ever become senior engineers?
Yeah, so things are getting changed. Allow, like you can say 1 year back, junior expectation was like, you just write a API, that can do so and so task. So that was the expectation from, fresh grad. Like, if you can handle it within 1 day or 2 day, that's fine. That's okay. That's the basic expectation from junior developer. But nowadays that things are getting done within 1 hour, 2 hour. You just need to test it. So even junior engineer or senior engineer can do it, within 1 hour, 2 hours. So obviously people won't expect you to do this same task, within 1 day or 2 day. You have to finish it. So now those who are getting graduated, recently or in upcoming years, you have to increase your expectations. Basically, companies are expecting, from you more from you. So basically you have to learn something else, not just this, but they may ask you like you have to develop this feature within this many days, and you should learn either you develop code by yourself or how to write a better prompt to chat gpt that can give you code within 1 or 2 hours. So you have to learn all those technologies. Like you have to be prompt journalist. You have to know how to communicate with the model in a better way so that it can give you a better output. You have to learn all those tricks. Even in coming days in interviews, people may ask you like you have to do this assignment within 1 and 2 hour. You can use anything, either cursor, chat gpt or one anything. You will be given an id. You just finish this task within time bound. If you're okay, then we'll hire you. Interview process may change in future, you don't know. But that's the expectation. Things are getting changed, so you have to adapt that and you have to learn it basically.
That's a very interesting insight. That interview processes will also change. Earlier, I remember during our time, we used to basically there were two things to crack an interview. Either you are very good with DSA,
Yeah,
or you are very good with competitive programming, or
yeah,
both. Like both was the perfect mix.
yeah.
But I remember people not studying anything else and not
Because
knowing even how to build like a like any piece of code, but they were like excellent at top coder and code
Yeah,
chef.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do you think the value of competitive programming and all of those all of these tertiary things which developers used to do, or I would say students used to do to become developers, do you think that's going to also go down?
Yeah, that will change. That will change. It is not going to drastically change. Still they have to. Even companies has to adapt their interview process. So
Right.
eventually that will change. But in upcoming days, I would say they will ask you whether you can work with the agents or not. If you can work with the army of agents, then we can hire you. So that's
Hmm.
the thing. It's not like that they expect you to write API, one or two days. They expect you to know whether you can deal with agents or not, whether you can
Right.
handle the army of agents or not. So that will be the expectation from the college grad, upcoming
Hmm.
days. But yeah.
So expectation from a college grad would be, can you work with the agents, and expectation with a senior
Huh.
engineer would be whether you can build that army or not.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. I'm so sorry. I think there's a network issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get back. So fair enough. That's very very interesting in terms of the expectations.
Mhm.
Now, tell me what's happening with the with actually writing writing code, and with your work today. So because I think a year back, or maybe 6 months back, 8 months back, AI was basically being used to write boilerplates, right? We
Mhm.
would give it a template, a boilerplate, and feed in or maybe connect those to the basic, like the end optimization, I would say, right? Now things are changing. Now it's actually the new we use Cursor, for example, and the new Claude is crazy. Like you can actually build, you can actually optimize database queries, you can architect microservices, you can, we've used it to generate our deployment pipelines as well, right? So and now as a senior engineer, that's all what we were supposed to do 8 months back,
Mhm.
right? So when you look at your own job, do you
Yes.
think that an AI could probably do 70% of my job, or no, has your job itself changed?
Yeah, so I think, see, I mean, all these models are working with the context knowledge, right? So right now, Gemini 2.5 Pro has 1 million tokens as a context. So you can give 1 million informations, as a token,
Right.
and it can give you answer with that single. So that's the capability of model. But not all models are working with that level of tokens. I think Claude has just 200 million tokens. Even ChatGPT has lower. So these models are getting evolved. So even the bigger companies can't fit all the data in a single prompt and they can give it output, because having all the holistic knowledge and give you the answer, that will be the better answer. Just giving a chunk of knowledge and getting answers, it may not be perfect. Okay. So what we are doing
Mm-hmm.
basically, what I'm doing basically, you can't entire company's code repo knowledge to the
Right.
model. You can't do it right now, right? So basically, you have to think about it. You have to break down your problem. Your, if you have the entire feature, you have to break down into smaller chunk. That suggestions you may ask model, it can give you better answer, breakdown task. Then for individual breakdown of the small task, you can ask. So this is the piece of area of region, you can give the context of those files. Now I want to develop this, it can give you a better answer in
Right.
that case. So you have to learn. So you have to learn how to answer, how to ask questions to the LLM with the given amount of context knowledge. It can give you a better answer. So yeah, but I mean, I would say I'm not saying like more than 70%, 80% getting done, task done by me, because I'm not just coding. I need to manage people. I have to be involved in the architecture discussions. I have to guide people. So now, but it is, previously, like maybe 1 year back, I have to manage both coding
Right.
and meetings and everything. It was difficult to manage, to set the expectation of the management. Like I'm also writing code, I'm also handling. But nowadays, with the help of AI, you can write code as well, in less amount of time. So that is something, which is helping me nowadays. At least I can write a piece of code as well. It's not like that written by AI and I can simply post it. I have to thoroughly review everything, but still, it is helping me in my day-to-day life. Writing a code, and at the same time helping team members and team to make architectural decision. And also the code review is something which I believe still LLM is not reached up to the mark. Still I have to be involved in all the code reviews thoroughly. Even though we have Copilot as a code reviewer, but still I'm not getting the expected, review comments there. That is something which is still yet to become. But yeah, that is where I'm spending most of my time and
Interesting. I
doing things.
remember during our college days, there's this movie called I Robot, where there was this hologram to which uh, you had to actually, like,
Ah,
it knew all the answers, but you had to actually ask the right question, right, to be able to understand, to be able to get the right answer. So I think that
yes,
future is now, where
yes,
yeah, asking the
yes,
right question is
yeah,
more important, and rather than you need to know what to ask basically to the LLM, and
yes.
that's a training in itself, right? That's a field in
Yeah.
itself, prompt engineering, and trying to understand.
Yeah, so I have been involved in scale AI. That the Meta
Right,
has already
right.
acquired scale AI. The billion training model. So one of my friends was working for training the module, and I know how they are actually training the model with millions of tokens. So they have a set of procedure. You can say SOP how you should train the model. So based on that journey, you get to know how LLM will work, how we need to ask LLM. So I think the right now best is to give the holistic view of the entire feature, ask the roadmap. It will give you a step by steps procedure to do, then go deeper into that particular individual steps. So that is how you should ask the LLM questions, and you can get things done
Right.
in a
So
proper
first
way.
create a roadmap, and then go deeper in one by one
Yes,
into each feature. Yeah, that's very important, I think, and that is what the juniors should be doing, right? That's what people should understand, that how to actually build features through LLMs. That's very important, I
LLM,
agree.
yes.
A little about your career evolution, and uh, your work, right? So you were an Amazon intern, then you worked with Sprinkler, and then you moved into remote working, right? So what
Yes.
made that switch, and how do you compare physically working to completely remotely working? Because during COVID, we had a lot of people who started
Yeah,
working from home, and now we're doing a lot of a lot of people are doing call to office, where they're asking everyone to come back. You've been remote working since before
yeah,
remote working was actually cool, or before anyone actually knew about remote working, to be very honest. So at that time, how did you
yeah, yeah.
make the switch, and how do you compare both?
Yeah, so I think in the remote work, in every org, I believe the trust is very important. So it's all about how transparent you are with your management or your
Yeah,
manager. Basically, how open to the team. That's very important. Even if you're facing an issue, if you're stuck somewhere, it is better to communicate openly with them. Hey, I'm facing this issue. I'm stuck at this point. So they trust you. Building trust is very important in the remote work. If they trust you, you can work from anywhere. If they don't trust you, they will call you in
right.
office. You have to work in front of me, and that's so. I think getting remote job initially it will be very difficult. Nobody will trust you because it's difficult to get. Even if you get small amount of work with the remote work, you can go and start getting trust basically. So after you are working with remote company, next company will be easy for you to crack, because you know that you are already working with remote company. So obviously you have some trust building process, then only you are working remotely nowadays. So getting start is difficult, but once you involve in that, I think after that you know how to build a trust is very important. Communication is very important. At the end of the day, you have to communicate on Slack or message, whatever you feel like, this is what I have done, this is what I'm going to do next. And whenever you face an issue, don't spend time too much on researching. Just spoke up like, I'm facing this issue and I'm doing this research to solve it. You may get help. So that is how you need to unblock yourself, by yourself only. Nobody will reach out to you because you're working remotely. Nobody is watching you. So you should know how to unblock you, how to communicate clearly with the team. That is how people will trust you, and I think that's how it becomes very easy for you to work. And another thing is, like, even if I go to an office job, I can get a better pay, stocks and everything. But now I feel the trade-off between my social life and the
Right.
amount of money that you're making. So at certain point you feel that, oh no, I think social life is also important, because that is something I'm losing. And at the end of the day, like, each life you feel that this is what I have missed in my career,
Right.
which you should not, like, really you will regret what you have not done, at the end of the life. So that is what I don't want. So that's what I am feeling, that uh, having a remote with the families and friends, and at the same time, if you get an earning opportunity, that's the best life,
Mm.
I believe. Other than getting stuck in Gurgaon or Bangalore, just 3 hours. Because when I was in Amazon, I was no, I know I was commuting like more than 2 hours in a cab, Amazon cab. I was thinking 60 hours in a month I'm just spending on communication. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that thing. So that was something, I was
Mm.
always in my mind that I don't want to spend this kind of life, because 60 hours with my family will be much more rewarded
Definitely.
than this,
Definitely.
urban politics. Yeah. So that is what my priority, everyone
Right.
have a different
Right.
priorities in their life. I believe social life
Mm.
versus earning is more
Yeah, like
important.
3 hours traveling one way comes up to, as you said, like in a
Yeah.
month you're doing 60 hours, which means in an year
Yeah.
you're actually doing 720 hours, which means you're actually traveling for
Yeah.
30 days every year. So yeah, that time you get
Yeah.
to spend with your
So
family. And yeah, I agree. Like you have to optimize for
yeah.
everything. You cannot only optimize for a salary. You need to optimize for your learning. You need to
Yeah.
optimize for the time you spend with your
Yeah.
family, with your friends, and of course, how
Yeah.
much compensation do you have? Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's very true. But now
Yeah.
tell me, since we're talking about
Yeah.
optimization, um, see, we
Mhm.
at the end we all want to grow, right? And till
Yeah.
I would say 2 years back, there was this very straightforward path of growth where you keep, you first join in as an intern or a junior developer, then you keep learning, then you move to SD2 sort of a role, then a senior role, then a team lead, then a principal engineer. There's a very clear cut path. Now because of AI,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
are changing. So what are you like? What are
That's
you
true.
optimizing for in your career today? If we talk about.
Yes, yeah, that's changed drastically. Initially I was thinking I just need to. So, why company hire, like valued most is senior people because they have a
Right.
context knowledge. For example, if you join Amazon like 10 years back and you are in 10 years in Amazon, that's a huge deal for Amazon because you have context knowledge of Amazon, how the code base is working, how things are changing. You have seen that in past 10 years. So the context knowledge is very important. So if you want to make yourself valuable, you should know about the companies more, like domain knowledge, not just coding. You should know the business value as well. So domain knowledge is something that will make you, difference among the other peoples. At the same time, now things are getting changed. Previously you were working with the people, now you know how to work with the agents. You need to ramp up yourself, how you can deal with multiple agents, how you can do multiple things at a time. And uh, at the same time, so that's how you should know both technically and managerially. Now in just terms of technical stuff, I would say you need to know how to create your own model. Obviously you can use your base model, Gemini, whatever, but how to create your own model on top of it, how to deploy those model, how you can create
Mm.
your own
Right.
agent, basically, that people can use it. So that is something you need to learn now. Previously you were simply blindly coding based on the business requirement, but now you have to think ahead of it, how I can automate this particular, business activity, through AI, whatever you can do it. So now you need to change your technical, vision, how you can deploy your own model, how you can create your own model. Or maybe if you have a very good idea, you can create your own company as well.
Right.
Just a single man person, in a company, you can do anything with the AI. You have, coding person, you have marketing person, you have anything, you have SEO experts, everything. You just, I know I was using operative.sh. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
people have heard it or not, but you just go there. You just give an idea. It can create the entire website for you. It can do the testing for you lively in front of you. It can open the URL. It will
Right.
test for you. It will analyze logs. It will check the logs. This is the
Yeah.
error log. This is the lending error I am getting. Let's fix it. You
Right.
just give the prompt. It will do everything. A single prompt will give you the
Mm.
entire website
There's this
in
thing
front
going
of
on,
you.
right,
Test.
on at least on LinkedIn, that that very soon there'll be a unicorn with just one person. So do you also you're
Yeah, yeah.
but there are two
You
kinds of, there are two sides on it. There's one side which is saying it's not possible, and there's another side which says it's possible. So which side are you on? Mm.
I'm saying, is it possible? It is possible. If you already have an entrepreneur experience, sometimes, as an engineer entrepreneur, you know how to build a product, but when you need to sell the product, you need to convert into the marketing stuff, it becomes difficult for us as an engineer. You need marketing expertise as well, but now domain knowledge is there. People can use LLM to get the marketing strategy as well. Even you can just hire the people, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of agents available, expertise in that particular domain as well, in the marketings and sales. And I think you can build single person unicorn as well. I am with that.
Right. That's let's see how it unfolds and whether it is possible. But you talked about
Yeah.
about how, like, if you're an entrepreneur and you build products, marketing is difficult. I agree, but there's also one more aspect to building products, right? Where a lot of people, either with their job or between jobs, they work on a lot of indie projects, right? These indie projects actually end up, for some, these indie projects end up making decent revenue so that they don't have to ever go back to their job, or they get to leave their day job. But usually revenue is not the focus, right? Usually the focus is learning. Do you think it still makes sense to to build these into spend time in these indie projects and learn while you're on your job or between your jobs to enhance your skill? Or because, as you said, there are tools, there are agents which can actually do everything for you, so then does it even make sense to build these projects anymore?
Yeah, you can do it. Still, I mean, as I said, if you want to survive in this upcoming AI wave, if you have an idea, you should start building on top of it. Ultimately, you are solving
Right.
people problems, basically. If genuinely solving people will pay for you. That is for sure. You know, it is not like that problem is already solved. It is like how optimally or how efficiency, you are bringing the solution. People will reward that particular solution. Cost effective, time effective, whatever. Even if problem is already solved, but you have a better way to solve it, go for it, build it. People will love it, people
Hmm.
will pay for it. That is for sure. So even if you have an idea, I would say, just go for it, just build it. You don't need now years of time to build the product, you
Right.
just need few months. you know Build the product now.
True, true. So we have a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to ask the last two, three questions. Uh, One very
Yeah.
important thing which I want to ask is, what's the conversation which is actually happening, behind the scenes after this global workforce shift? Are companies saying that we need few engineers, but the ones we need, we're gonna be like paying three times the price because they're giving three times of the code? Or is it something else? What's the conversation for hiring which is happening behind the scenes now, behind the
Mhm.
curtains?
I think what I have seen based on my experience, like it is not like that. Like if you can work with AI, we'll pay you more or something like that. Even the existing companies are having their
Right.
internal training modules. They train their internal employees how to use LLM. They even give the assignment to the employees, like you convert this assignment, you finish this assignment just using LLM. So people, a lot of good companies are training their internal employees how to use LLM, how to make it most of into LLM to make your daily life easy. So good companies are investing in their employees with these courses and all the stuff. So that's there. And even like obviously if they have a very junior level developer, like those who are just doing some piece of code that is being done by AI agents, their job is uncertain, to be honest, frankly speaking. For example, Facebook, they are having $1 billion revenue. Even one line of code can change, impact that $1 billion revenue. That's why they have hired few thousand bucks employee, initial level of employee. They can just do one line of coding for them, and they can save their $1 billion. That is how they have hired people at junior level, very big number initially. But now things are getting changed. They can solve this problem internally with LLM, so they don't need those people. Obviously in that scenario layoff will happen, but those who are long in a company, they have a very good domain knowledge, and that particular vertical is really performing well, then that job is secure. Don't worry too much, don't take too much stress. Better to focus on your day-to-day life, make it better using LLM, and then your life is sorted. But yeah, and in upcoming days, you have to be ready that there won't be any juniors developer, there will be an army of agents. You need to deal with that, you need to know how to handle those army of agents, not the people. Yeah, that days are coming
Right,
in
right.
upcoming days. So Yeah, so be prepared with that, so you won't be surprised. Don't just stay away from the AI jargons.
Mm,
You need to be involved. You need to know, and just go with that. Yeah. So that is something people are already heading towards. That is something which is not knowing
true.
many people by. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
are
AI
aware of it.
jargons are not jargons anymore. You need to get
Yeah,
deep into it and understand what's actually happening and what's gonna
yeah,
come. That's very true. One last
yeah,
question, Jayman, before we close the stream. If let's say you
yeah,
have to give one advice to your past self, right? Before the AI
haha.
revolution actually struck us, but let's say you have knowledge of whatever has happened in the future. What advice would you give to yourself? Let's say,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think I have my friends who are already in ML scope. I don't know. I have learned few courses in
right,
during advanced machine learning and yeah. I we haven't choose that particular path. We just went into the normal
right,
software engineer career. But if you could have go into that particular domain, I don't know. Facebook may we reach out to you. We are giving you 10 millions
right, right,
sign up bonus like that. But yeah, people are there. Perplexity, right? That Arvind, he's just passed out in 2017, from IIT Madras. I don't know the IIT, but yeah, he just passed out after. He just worked with the top-notch companies, Google, OpenAI, and
right,
he learned how to create LLMs. Now you have the product Perplexity. Even Google is stretching their head now. What should I do? They are in a panic mode. Like, Google Chrome is
right,
going to
right.
be replaced. How to
Mm,
invent very fast. You know they are in pressure. Even big companies are in pressure. How to go with that particular speed that nobody can overtake us. So it's not like just that we are just seeing their movies. We just seeing them how they are responding to this particular
right.
market situations. But they are
No,
very
I'm sure.
stressed
I'm
right
sure.
now.
Yeah, because yeah, OpenAI. I think OpenAI is the one getting their own browser, right? Or is it Perplexity? Perplexity is getting their own browser. Wow.
Perplexity.
Right. Uh,
Yeah. So they have the AI browser, right? You just give them from. It can order you from Amazon. You just ask them like I
right.
have seen the video. It is going to ask like based on my chat history, what do you think where I'm deficient in terms of minerals? It can give you the answers. Then you ask like which is the best medicine based on for this supplement. It can find the name of those. Then can you order for me on Amazon? It is going
Wow.
to order for you on
Right.
Amazon. So
Might have
that's
a
that.
movie
People are heading
killer
towards the
coming out of Perplexity then. Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's there.
Right.
It's paid version, but yeah, I mean, people will pay.
I'm sure.
Those who
Yeah.
want to save the time. Yeah,
Amazing. Uh, Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jamin, for all the fantastic insights on and some amazing advice for junior developers who are, and especially college students and people who are now getting into the computer science field. And it has been wonderful talking to you. And yeah, have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I think we have also lost Jamin. He is Jamin, are you there? No, I think Jamin is having some internet connection. But for everyone, for all our listeners, that was Jemin Patel. He's a senior software engineer at Deel. You can find him on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to him if you want any more insights on AI. Thank you so much.